Hi, I'm Richard Mobbs and I've produced a series of mathematical tutorials to support the Open University course TU100. This tutorial is about decimal places. All of my resources can be found on the following website. As TU100 students, we are basically technologists. We're not mathematicians, but we have to be comfortable with handling numbers, doing calculations and expressing our answers in a sensible format. And today we're going to be looking at decimal places. We're used to handling decimal places in our real life. If we buy 3 kilograms of potatoes, it might cost £2.85. Here we've got 0.85 as the decimal places. 50 litres of petrol at today's prices might cost £86.72. The 3 and the 5 are basically whole numbers, 3 kilograms, 50 litres. But the 2.85 and the 86.72 are decimal numbers. For any decimal number, the figure on the left is what's called the most significant figure. That shows the real value. Then we find the decimal place, the decimal point, and the first figure after that represents tenths. The second one, the 6 in this case, represents hundredths. The third one, 1,000s, and the fourth one, 10,000s. As we work our way along the list of decimal places, the last one is what we call the least significant number. It's conveying the least amount of information. So when we look at a decimal place, the first decimal place is the figure immediately after the decimal point. The second decimal place is the second digit, in this case it's the 5, and the third is the 8, and the fourth is the 2. We use decimal numbers to show accuracy or precision, and sometimes we don't always need a great deal of number of decimal places. Very often we just want to get a feel for our answer, so we may limit ourselves to the number of decimal places we want to show in our answers. When we limit the number of decimal places, we use the rounding up and rounding down strategy that we've met in the exercise, in the presentation number 1. So let's have a look at this case here. We're going to round this number, 5.6123. We're going to round it to 2 decimal places. We use the same strategy for rounding, where we look at the figure we're interested in this case the second decimal place, and that's highlighted in blue, and then we look at the third decimal place and we make a decision. Is that number greater than 5 or less than 5? If it's greater than 5, we round up. If it's less than 5, which the 2 is, we'll round down. So my number becomes 5.61, and we put in brackets 2 decimal places. This shows the reader that we have actually rounded our number to 2 decimal places. The next number we want to round to 3 decimal places. Here we count from the decimal point 1, 2, 3, and we see the blue number, number 3, is the third decimal place. We move on to the fourth one to make the decision as to whether we should round up or round down. Here it's a 5, so therefore we'll round up. And we get our answer of 0.004, and again we put in brackets to 3 decimal places to show the reader that we have rounded our number up. Let's have a look at some more examples. 51.3219 to 2 decimal places. So we look at the decimal place number 2, and then we look at the third one, then the one after we're interested in is the 1. We make a decision, is it greater than 5 or not? It's not, so we'll round down. So my answer is 51.32, and again we show it to 2 decimal places. My second example, 4.2671, we look at the second decimal place highlighted in blue, and we make a decision on the third decimal place highlighted in red, the 7. Is it greater than 5? It is, so in this case we'll round up. So my answer is 4.27, and again I show this to 2 decimal places. My third number is 0.193, and I want to round this to 2 decimal places. So I look at the second decimal place, highlight the red one is 9. Is that greater than 5? Yes it is, so therefore I'll round up. And my answer in this particular case is 0.2 to 2 decimal places. My last answer, again we look at the second decimal place highlighted in blue, look at the third one, make the decision, is it greater than 5? It is, so therefore we'll round up. But in this case, it pushes the 4 onto a 5, but again we add the last 0 on the end to show significance. In this case we add a 0, so my answer is still 0.50 to 2 decimal places. I hope this tutorial has been useful, and as I said at the beginning, all my resources can be found on the following website.